Good thing about this shipping container is that it stays a lot warmer in here when it's cold outside. The bad thing is about the shipping containers, it stays a lot warmer in here when it's warm outside too. So right now I actually came in here, I was like, it's sort of nice in here today since I am bundled up. It may look nice outside, but it's a little windy and it's about 35 degrees or so. So not terrible, it could be a lot worse. The weather's really been all over the place, which is typical of this time of year here, but I am going to look and see if I can get some pre-emergent down. The thing that I have to think about now more when I have a lot of space out here is what I'm going to do on certain areas that have to just get rainfall in order to get things watered in. I will have irrigation out on all of this stuff over here, but some of these common areas that I want to make sure I get some pre-emergent on this season, I need to be relying more on rainfall. And we have some of that on the way, it looks like. So this area up here now north of the plots is about 10,000 square feet, if I remember correctly. I have some wildflowers out in here, and last year it got overtaken by a lot of just foxtail crabgrass, that type of thing, as it would when it's mostly a bare soil. But this year I'd like to put down something on it pre-emergent wise and just see if I can get it slightly more under control until I decide exactly what I'm going to do with this whole area, if anything. I might just make it more wildflower area in the future. We'll see what comes up this year and how it all looks. Also, I wanted to check right now and see what our soil temps are looking like right over in this area. I wouldn't be too concerned with going slightly early, especially in this spot, if I'm going to go with more of a season-long rate, I guess I would say. That's kind of what I'm deciding right now. But this ground up here is also much sandier and is not really that great compared to even my plot area. Everything sort of runs down this hill, so it didn't collect a lot of the silty, nice soils here. This has a lot more rocks in it, so that's why I haven't done a whole lot of turf stuff here anyway. Sitting right now at 49.9.8, so that means it's go time here for me to get something on this before this rain comes. Even though I really didn't have a whole lot of issues with weeds out in our main plot area last season, I think I'm planning to do a pre-emergent app on those. So that's gonna have to happen soon, but I'm having my irrigation started for these plots in the next few days, it sounds like. So I will just see how that all gets torn up before I put an application down and have a whole bunch of machines tearing up the ground and kind of waste some of it in certain areas. So that'll also have to be going down probably in the next week or two with these soil temps, but I will get to these plots and that pre-emergent after we get the irrigation put in. So last season, right before the end of the year, I bought this tow behind spreader and I've only used it one time, so today will be second time that I'm gonna try to attempt to see how this works with my four-wheeler. What I'm worried about now is looking at the back of that, seeing how much square footage that it covers for the whole bag and pounds and all that stuff. And then I'll probably set it about midway on here, so I'm just getting a good even flow and see how it all goes, but I'm learning this thing yet. This is prodiamine in granular form, and it also has just a slight amount of potassium in there. But I like these that don't have any nitrogen in them because I'm not putting down any fertilizer to cause any growth. I just want to do the pre-emergent, and this one should be available locally to you, or otherwise you can grab something online. There's a couple other options online that I have used in the past as well. So as I mentioned there, I had about 10,000 square feet in that section, and that bag had already been opened and partially used last year, so the full rate completely, I believe that bag covers 14,800 square feet. I knew that I had used quite a bit of it from last season, so I didn't put down a full rate by any means, but probably about a half rate. I'm just gonna see how this season progresses and see what actually starts to come up over there and figure out if I wanna do some post-emergent spray later or what I wanna do. But at least this should help with the initial, making sure that a bunch of crabgrass and foxtail and stuff that was there last year won't start to take over again right away. And just a reminder that that does need to be watered in within, I believe, 14 days is recommended, but it's not really gonna start working until you get some water on it, until it gets watered into the soil. So that's why I'm preparing this now, trying to get this down before we get some rainfall in the next few days, and also looking like rainfall next week. All right, so up here on the main front yard, I have a lot of work to do, but I knew that going into it, and I'm looking forward to getting some seeding started in the next, maybe in the next few weeks. I gotta get this irrigation in, but I wanted to show you here. This is where some water lines were put in that go up to the building here. So I've got to bring some more soil in over here and try to start working that. And then also got our septic tank, which I need to do some fill work around this. And if you'll see out here in the distance, a few piles of soil out there, that is where our septic field drains, where the actual laterals are in. And so what I'm gonna do, I think right now, is get the skid steer out, try to take some of this excess soil. I wanted to wait for it to settle, but it's done that. Move some of that over into here and then see what I have left to fix some of these areas where I have a big pile of topsoil back here behind the building that I can also utilize. But I don't want to mess up the grade too much here because this is fairly smooth already. I just need to fix some of these big holes that are here. Now that I've made a huge mess up here, I suppose I should try to fix it a little before irrigation comes in. So I got my drag up here. I'm just going to spread this out slightly. Then I'm going to drag across it and see how even I can get it, and then I can fine tune with this. All right, so that soil that I put down was a little wetter than I anticipated it was going to be, so it was hard to smooth out. And normally this would be a job for my Ventrac, but right now it is getting its annual service, so I'll have that back soon, and then I'll do a final grade on here with that thing. It does such a fantastic job with the power rake of smoothing everything out. I got the septic tank here somewhat graded, and now I just need to fine tune some things. This area in here is supposed to be really where the drainage goes through, so I'm gonna have to see long term how wet that's actually gonna get, but I'm going to redirect this actual eave spout here on the end of the building out this direction and probably bury it in the ground over there. And maybe I might even tile that in and connect it down to that other one and do something with it that way. Eventually this thing is not going to be dumping water out here, so I think once that happens, I shouldn't have too much of an issue over here in this low spot, although it looks like I'm still gonna have to get a little soil in there over time. I'm gonna try to get this as good as I can before I seed, but there's probably gonna be some ongoing maintenance for sure. Then I also tip this drag over so it's actually digging in now. That should give me a little more soil to work with there, and then I can flip it back over when I'm done and just do a flat drag. That's a good start for now, and I'll be looking forward to getting this thing seeded. Bunch of grass growing against the building here in certain spots, and just because this is also white and this is the west side of the building here coming with the sun, this is going to be the hottest part of the building. Wanted to test and see where I'm at for soil temp over here, because if I can get this seeded sooner rather than later on this side where I have extra heat coming off the building, then that would be awesome. Let's just see. So yeah, we're sitting at just under 52 degrees. So I think this is going to be within the next week or so. I should be able to seed this and actually see some germination. I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to put on this side just because of how much heat it's going to get. I would like to just put down ryegrass just because it's so easy to grow, but also it will probably get pretty burnt up. So I'm making a decision on that. But I'm also going to put some sort of landscape border in here, probably just 2 or 3 feet out. And I'm not sure what plants we'll put in here, but just so I don't have to trim right up against the building or anything like that in the future, just makes it easier. So last task for today, as the sun starts to get lower in the sky, is to put down a dose of liquid fertilizer on these low-cut plots. So I'm going to be doing spoon feeding on these, probably also spoon feeding the main 6 other plots that are a couple years old this season. Really what that means is that you're adding fertilizer in lower doses much more frequently. This gives you a lot more control over your growth and the nutrients that's going on there. This is pretty much instantaneous as it goes through the leaf, and you don't have to sit there and wait for granular or anything else to break down into the soil. This has been the basis of my program for my low-cut turf for a long time. Since these plots right here were just planted in the fall, they haven't had a whole lot of nutrients put on them in general. They're just starting to green up, so I figure I'm going to do a low dose now, try to get them looking really good here in the next few weeks, and hopefully ready to mow. Also, I'm going to be using the 1648 today from Simple Lawn. This comes out of my Lawn Essentials box, so if you happen to grab that, then this 1648 fertilizer will come in there. Also, the reason that I like it, specifically what Simple Lawn is all about, is just an easy to use hose end. So today I really don't want to get out my sprayer at the end of the night and have to clean it all out, mix some fertilizer and all that. So I'm just going to hook this up for hose end to the well, spray these 4 here. I should be done in about 5 minutes and easy peasy. Well, I think that was pretty good progress today for one afternoon, so thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.